Watch as we dive into the surprising record-breaking achievements of SpaceX and the ongoing debate surrounding NASA's rocket advancements and cost reductions in comparison to private companies like SpaceX. If I had told you a decade ago that SpaceX would one day dominate the space industry, breaking record after record, you might have laughed thinking I was out of my mind. It's not that you doubted the potential for innovation. It was just that SpaceX was, at the time, more of a startup in an industry already filled with established giants like NASA, Boeing, and Russian space agencies. So, when Musk boldly promised to revolutionize the rocket market, many thought he was merely seeking attention. Fast forward to today, and the landscape of space exploration has dramatically transformed. Join us as we analyze the impact of these developments on the space industry and beyond. Looking for the most reliable rocket, the Falcon 9 holds that title. In search of the most powerful operational rocket, the Falcon Heavy claims that distinction. And if you're curious about the largest rocket ever developed, although still under development, the Starship points to the future of interplanetary travel. All of these are SpaceX's achievements, showing a clear dominance in the space sector. And above all, SpaceX recently achieved a milestone with their Falcon 9 rocket capturing news headlines worldwide. We talk about the threat that bears a rocket to the global Earth and land after completing orbital missions. Before the advent of Falcon 9, rockets were largely seen as single-use vehicles. Traditionally, once a rocket had completed its mission, delivering its payload into orbit, the booster stages were discarded, usually falling back to Earth and landing in the ocean never to be used again. This practice was not only wastefully expensive, but also unsustainable in the long term. The Falcon 9's design allows for the reuse of the most expensive parts of the rocket, significantly driving down the cost of space exploration. The first stage booster, which makes a major portion of the launch cost, is designed to be recovered and reused. SpaceX accomplishes this through precision landings on autonomous spaceport drone ships in the ocean or directly back at the launch site's landing zones. The process involves the first stage booster performing a controlled descent back to Earth after separation from the second stage. It uses a series of burns to slow down its descent and navigate back to the landing platform. The booster lands vertically either on the drone ship or at a landing zone, depending on the mission profile and fuel requirements. Over the years, the Falcon 9 has achieved numerous firsts, including carrying geostationary payloads, launching deep space missions reusing boosters and notably carrying humans to space. With the Crew Dragon capsule, a significant portion of its missions has been dedicated to deploying the Starlink satellites, which aim to provide global high-speed internet. This rocket recently reached a significant milestone with its 300th launch. This particular mission involved launching 22 Starlink satellites from Vandenberg Space Force Base in California, further expanding SpaceX's ambitious Starlink internet communications network. Initially, Falcon 9 launches were less frequent, but over the years, SpaceX has significantly ramped up its operations. SpaceX has set an even more ambitious goal for 2024, aiming for 148 launches throughout the year. This plan significantly exceeds the 98 launches completed in the previous year. As the workhorse of SpaceX's fleet, the Falcon 9's role is crucial in achieving this unprecedented launch number. In another groundbreaking achievement, SpaceX successfully deployed a lunar lander to the Moon, marking a significant milestone in lunar exploration efforts. This event is a pivotal moment in the ongoing Artemis missions led by NASA, aimed at establishing a sustainable human presence on the Moon and beyond. This achievement marks the first time in decades that the U.S. has successfully placed an object on the lunar surface. The fact that SpaceX successfully landed on the Moon while NASA recently failed to do so demonstrates that private companies may be outpacing traditional government space agencies in terms of innovation, efficiency, and possibly cost-effectiveness. Critics also argue that NASA's rockets have not shown significant advancements or cost reductions compared to private companies like SpaceX. This is often because of the fact that private companies are driven by profit, which motivation activates them to constantly find innovative and cost-effective solutions to stay competitive. In contrast, NASA is funded by the government and doesn't have the same financial pressure to cut costs. Since NASA's budget comes from taxpayer money and is allocated by Congress, there's less urgency to reduce expenses as their funding isn't directly linked to their performance in terms of cost saving. This setup can lead to slower innovation and higher costs compared to the private sector. NASA's Space Launch System, or SLS, serves as a prime example when discussing concerns over innovation, cost, and efficiency within NASA's programs compared to private sector. Achievements. The development cost of this rocket is estimated to reach around $20 billion, and each launch is projected to cost about $2 billion. This price point is extreme. To put it into perspective, with the combined development and single launch cost of the SLS, you could fund approximately 355 launches of SpaceX's Falcon 9 rockets, assuming a cost of about $62 million per Falcon 9 launch. Moreover, the SLS is not nearly as innovative as SpaceX's Falcon 9 rocket. While the Falcon 9 showcases advancements in rocket technology, particularly with its reusable first stage that can land and be flown again, the SLS sticks to a more traditional single-use design. Specifically, the SLS uses engines and technologies that, while proven, are derived from older space shuttle programs. And that's about it for today's episode. Thank you so much for tuning in, and that's all for today's update. If you enjoyed watching and found it useful, please make sure to subscribe to my channel and hit the like button. And if you want to support our channel and if you want to be up to date, you can become an exclusive member, so click on our perks through the link in the description below. Thanks to watching and see you next time.